Ticket to Work is a tool to assist Medicare individuals who are under 65, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through, and I'll go through these slides fairly briefly. But to begin the discussion, when we talk about individuals receiving Medicare, the ticket program through our work incentives provides access to Medicare, Medicaid, and extends eligibility for those services. So I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the slide. I'm going to provide basically an overview, if we could, an overview of the Ticket to Work program. Vocational rehabilitation is part of that. We also have work incentives, planning and assistance, and we also have protection and advocacy services for our beneficiaries who participate in Ticket to Work. So the Social Security Act is mandated by law. It was legislated in 1999, and it authorizes the ticket program and requires Social Security administered program. So the premise behind the law is that our beneficiaries, so those individuals receiving disability benefits, may use a ticket to obtain employment services, vocational rehabilitation, or other supports to return to work. And SSA were mandated under that law to select a program manager. Currently, SSA is engaged with Maximus to run the operational elements of Ticket to Work. So what is the ticket program? I indicated it was created by legislation in 1999. It basically is designed to provide program supports for career development and employment support for our beneficiaries who want to work. Program is free and voluntary to our beneficiaries. SSA pays our service providers for the services they provide. The beneficiaries do not. Ticket holders have opportunities to obtain services and supports to go back to work. And the goal of Ticket to Work is for individuals to ultimately, if possible, if medically able, to leave benefits and return back to work. How does the ticket program work? So all individuals aged 18 to 64 who are receiving disability benefits, we refer to those as beneficiaries, may participate. We estimate right now there's about 13 million individuals who are receiving Social Security benefits. SSA provides the following services at no charge, and that includes legal advocacy and advice, benefits counseling, employment support services, and vocational rehabilitation services. I'll talk a little bit more about these in the upcoming slides. How does the ticket program work? A little more information. We notify, so we'll talk to you about the programmatic aspects and how we implement the program, but for the beneficiaries, we notify the beneficiary of their eligibility to participate in the Ticket to Work program. We do this through letters that we mail out to new beneficiaries and beneficiaries who are celebrating the 1 and 3 year anniversaries of their benefits receipt date to tell them about the services provided. We also conduct automated calls to a portion of our new beneficiaries receiving benefits. So we use letters and we conduct calls. So the calls and the letters direct beneficiaries to our ticket call center. We have a dedicated Ticket to Work call center, and we also have a dedicated Ticket to Work website. And so I want to note that the Ticket to Work call center is separate and apart from Social Security's teleservice center number. The ticket call center number can be located through our website, our Choose Work website, which is the Ticket to Work website. And you can either Google SSA Choose Work or SSA Ticket to Work, or you can go directly to the link at www.chooseworkttw.net, and that will give you the site directly. And that covers all things Ticket to Work, every information that the public, at the public-facing site, and it tells you everything you need to know about Ticket to Work. So once informed, our beneficiaries may choose to assign their ticket either to an employment network or to a state vocational rehabilitation agency to receive employment support services. So what is an employment network? Well, really, the legislation behind Ticket to Work was designed to expand the options available to SSA disabled beneficiaries in terms of receiving employment support services. The traditional route of service was vocational rehabilitation. And with Ticket to Work, the idea was to expand that to employment networks nationwide. Employment networks can be for-profit or nonprofit organizations, and they have contract agreements with SSA where we require them to provide specific service and supports. Right now, there's about 600 organizations nationwide that serve as our employment networks. We are always looking to add service providers, quality service providers, to the number of employment networks we have nationwide. So what are vocational rehabilitation agencies? When you talk about VR, you're talking about the more traditional state agencies that provide more intensive services to our beneficiaries. They may service either Social Security beneficiaries, they may also service non-Social Security beneficiaries, and they provide a variety of services such as job training and tuition support for classes and assistive technologies and so forth. I want to talk a little bit about our work incentives. I mentioned that at the beginning, and just to walk through this briefly, we have many work incentives, and they're essentially rules that make it possible and actually design and encourage our beneficiaries who are disabled and receiving benefits to return to work while still receiving monthly payments. Along with this is the included eligibility for Medicare and Medicaid. So the details to start off concerning the aspects of our work incentives can be found at specifically in what we call our Red Book. The Red Book, it can be found through our Choose Work website that I noted earlier. You may also find this at ssa.gov/Redbook, or you can Google search SSA Red Book and that'll take you right to the publication. All the information is contained in that publication. And so specific to the discussion of Medicare, when we talk about SSDI, our Title II disabled beneficiaries who have Medicare and are working above what we call substantial gainful activity, and that's approximately $1,100 a month, and are not medically improved, and that's a categorization by Social Security. They are protected by participating in the Ticket to Work program from what we call a medical continuing disability review. So they are not found medically improved. And as a result of that, their Medicare coverage continues 93 consecutive months in terms of their hospital insurance, or Part A. Also the supplemental medical insurance, Part B, if enrolled, and the prescription drug coverage, Part D, if enrolled after the 9-month trial work period. Trial work period is another work incentive allowing individuals to work at any rate for the first 9 months that they're on benefits. Again, more of that information is provided in a Red Book. So to round out our SSDI population, they can buy continued Medicare coverage after their premium-free Medicare coverage ends due to work if they remain disabled. And for those under 65, disabled and no longer entitled to free Medicare hospital insurance Part A, they may be eligible for help in paying their Medicare Part A monthly premium. Now, in regards to our SSI recipients, they may continue with their Medicaid coverage if earnings become too high for an SSI cash payment. We refer to that as Medicaid while working, Section 1619B. They may buy Medicaid if they are disabled and no longer entitled to free Medicaid because they have returned to work. So I've mentioned 2 of the work incentives specific to Medicare and Medicaid. There are several others. They're technical rules, as you can tell as I walk through these. So one key element to the program is work incentives planning and assistance. And these are programs that we fund through a grant nationwide. We have 83 of these projects. And they deliver intensive work incentives planning with beneficiaries on a one-on-one basis to carefully explain the impact of earnings on their benefits. And when I say benefits, I don't just mean Social Security disability benefits, but that includes Medicaid, Medicare, and other state and local benefits that the person is receiving. So this is a critical service and is very important, because the first thing that people ask when they think about going back to work is, how is work, or more specifically, my earnings, going to impact my benefits? So that's an important piece to that. And we will discuss our protection and advocacy, for beneficiaries. I mentioned this earlier. This is a separate grant program and is designed to provide legal representation and counsel for our beneficiaries, our Social Security beneficiaries, to essentially eliminate barriers to employment that exist, whether that's through current laws that are within a state, or it could be discrimination that the person is experiencing from the employer, or an accessibility issue, or other such legal matters. Now, we have inherent with Ticket to Work, there's been challenges in administrating the program, and there's some things to remember as we go along. Again, our definition of disability in terms of SSA is very strict. You have to have an impairment for 12 consecutive months that prevents you from working or results in death, and that's to paraphrase the definition of disability. As I indicated earlier, many beneficiaries fear losing their benefits if they go back to work, or that they'll get an overpayment. And in addition, the way we pay our employment networks, we pay them after the beneficiary goes back to work and starts showing earnings. So it's challenging to bring new organizations into the program unless they have other streams of income. When we talk about Ticket to Work, it is a voluntary program. You do not have to go through Ticket to Work to go back to employment if you are a beneficiary. We do not mandate that. So many people choose to use existing contacts, friends, family, former employers, etc., to go back to work via that route and not receive employment services. The program is fairly new in terms of the age of Social Security. I believe Social Security now is over 80 years old, and Ticket to Work is about 17, a little over 17 years old. So again, we're constantly in the process of familiarizing the public that they, and specifically our beneficiaries, that they can participate in this program. And of course, current constraints on our field operations, there are many workloads they're engaged in, and keeping this fresh and on the forefront for our field components is challenging. A little bit about our numbers. The only thing I want to reference there is that overall the program is growing despite the challenges that I mentioned earlier. We have about 350,000 beneficiaries who are currently engaged in the program. This data is a little old, but there are about 350,000 receiving services either from a vocational rehabilitation agency or an employment network. And the number of beneficiaries who are working and have received assistance from an employment network has risen fairly dramatically. I believe right now, from that March of 2016, we're about 50,000 plus in that area. So that's grown quite a bit. And so with that, I just wanted to turn it back over to Matthew, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak today.